You know what's everywhere right now? Vacation photos, beach photos, patio photos, families looking extremely coordinated in their matching swimsuits. And there you are, trying to figure out what joy even looks like in this chapter. I want to talk about that. I'm Mary Ellen. I run a community called Tools to Thrive Today for women in the middle of exactly this kind of season. And if you're new here, welcome. This is a good week to find us. Because I think a lot of us are in that season right now where we're rebuilding and nobody around us quite knows it, or at least nobody's posting about it. You might be coming out of something, a marriage that ended, an empty house that got too quiet too fast, a job you left or that left you, the loss of a loved one, or maybe it's less dramatic than that. Maybe you just woke up one day and realized the version of your life that you've been running for the last 20 years doesn't quite fit anymore. And now you're standing there wondering, okay, what's next? And then someone asks you, and you have to say something. And whatever comes out of your mouth is technically an answer, but it's not really the answer. Because the real answer is, I'm still figuring it out. And here's the thing I want to say about that straight out. That's not a problem. Not having a plan isn't the problem. The problem is thinking you're supposed to have one already. Because people who go through significant life reinvention don't start with a blueprint. They start with a direction, a feeling, a few things that still light them up, and they follow these threads. The map fills in as you walk it. We've been sold this idea that starting over should look like a business plan. Market research, 5-year outlook, step 1 through 10, laminated, color-coded, done. And when I get why we want that, we want when everything is uncertain, a plan feels like control. It feels like safety. But what I've actually seen in my own life and in the lives of the women I've had the privilege of walking with through major life transitions is that the reality rarely looks like the plan. The thing you end up with almost never matches the thing you wrote down when you first started trying to figure out what was next. So the blueprint isn't wrong. It's just incomplete. And treating its absence like evidence that you're doing this wrong, that's the actual mistake. Can I tell you the question I think is actually more useful than what's your plan? It's what am I noticing? What am I noticing about what feels like movement? What feels like stagnation? What am I noticing about who I am when I am most myself? These noticings are data, better data than a 5-year plan written from a place of fear and urgency. So, what I suggest instead is this: follow the small signals. What gave you energy last week? What conversation left you feeling more like yourself? What thing, and it might be small, don't dismiss the small ones. What thing made you think, oh, that, more of that? That's not a plan, but it's the beginning of one. I think about it like, when you're walking in the woods and you come to a fork in the trail and the signs are so confusing and you don't quite know which way to go? Following the thread is choosing one direction and noticing how your body responds. Does this feel right? Does this feel like moving towards something? And then you walk a little further and you check again. It's slower than a blueprint and it's actually more reliable. A lot of us are heading into July with a complicated feeling about it because summer used to come with a script. School's out, routine shifts, you know your role, you know what the season asks of you. And when your life has changed, when the kids are grown, or the marriage is different, or you're no longer defined by the thing that used to define you, summer arrives and it's just there with all this open space. And the open space feels like freedom, and also a little like a question. And I want to say something about that. The summer that doesn't look like the summers, like the old summers, is the one where you get to decide. What does joy look like now for you in this chapter? Not what it looked like 10 years ago, not what it looks like on Instagram, but for you now. And I want to close with this. The map fills in as you walk it. You don't need the whole map to take the first step. You need enough visibility for the next step, and then the next, and then the next. The women I admire, the ones who rebuilt their lives in ways that actually held, didn't have perfect blueprints. They had courage and curiosity and the willingness to be surprised. You're allowed to have that too. Even if your summer looks completely different from everyone else's Instagram, even if when someone asks what your plan is, the most honest answer is, I'm working on it. You are. And that is enough. I've got a full blog post on this. Link is in the description. It goes deeper into what building without a blueprint actually looks like in practice. And it includes a free resource I put together called the Reinvention Roadmap Cheatsheet. It's for exactly the season, when you know something is changing, but you're not sure yet what it's changing into. It's free. Grab it from the blog post. If you're somewhere in the middle of figuring out where you are in all of this, we also have a free 8-question reflection called Where Are You in Your Becoming? Links in the description too. 2 minutes, no wrong answers. And come find us on the Thrive Hive on Facebook. It's a real community of women doing exactly this, figuring it out without a blueprint and doing it together. I'll see you there.